Oh, balls.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.
Oh no!
Oh shit! All right,
that was wrong.
Sort of a pre-ejaculatory,
Will they demonetize this for saying balls?
I doubt it, and nor for pre-ejaculatory. I think we're fine on both of those.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a little started a little early there, and that's okay, folks. Sometimes that happens. You just put your head down and you get back to work. It's okay, as long as you have the stamina. And then I'm 51, not much stamina, so I guess there's things I got to work on here. And it doesn't matter at this point because I don't care. All right. Oh, by the way, before we get started, this is something Brett will not give two fucks about. But Mario Andretti, the legend, the last American to win Formula One in 1978, he drove a modern F1 car, McLaren, at the age of 80 at Laguna Seca. Just took 3 laps around, I mean, he was fucking fast. Still fast at 80. If I'm McLaren, I'm not sure I'd give this guy a car that can go that fast around a track. What if he has like a fucking heart attack or something during, I don't know. Anyhow, he's in good shape. I love Mario Andretti. He's a hero of mine. And anyhow, I had to throw that in there because I watched it today and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I gave up pork chops for this show tonight. Why? You can eat pork chops and watch the show at the same time. I do. Welcome to the Straight Red Card, the actual best soccer show in the land. Thank you, Adam. Thank you,
Adam. Is that
Adam.
in reference to Pete, where Pete said that his show is the best soccer show on the tubes?
He did?
And I went, maybe.
It all depends on your taste, really. That's what it is. A turd in the background says, "Good evening, folks. Just like the time I lost my virginity last week. You guys came early. Welcome to the Straight Red Card, the only soccer show where bald jokes are normal." Brett hates me. Brett does not hate you. We don't hate here. We just disagree.
We participate.
Yeah. Kevin Blatt says, "Welcome to the Straight Red Card, where we talk about how players who aren't good enough for Gregg's absolutely decimate favorite players in Gregg's system." What am I missing here?
I'm looking.
Okay. Where we talk about players who aren't good enough for Gregg's absolutely stupid system. Absolutely
crap, maybe
decimate favorite players in Gregg's. So anyhow, I get your point, Kevin.
I messed up. My bad. let it go, Derek.
I'm like, I must be just mispronouncing something, but no. All right. Hey, it's all right, Kevin. We all do it.
Hey, I'm the king of flubs. I always have to, whenever I'm typing on Twitter and I put a word down, I'm like, is that the word I need to be using? And 95% of the time, it is.
Have you ever gotten really so stoned you look at a certain word and you go, how's that a word? Like that. How is that a word? Just sounds like something that fucking, like some Neanderthal would say. That.
Yes.
Where do you want it?
That's probably how it happened. Absolutely, yeah.
What are we going to kill?
What are we talking about? Yeah.
Or what are we going to go kill and eat tonight? That over there, woolly mammoth. Yeah, I don't know. That's just one of those words I look at sometimes and go, how is that a fucking word? At least if it's like farfanuga or something like that, you're trying. That's an actual. There's an attempt at making something really long and something you have to pronounce out. That just comes right out. It's easy. It's like one of those really slick shits that you get every once in a while that just fall right out of your ass and you barely have to wipe. Those are the best. All right. I don't know. Have you had any of those?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you just like, damn.
I didn't expect that to pop up just now.
Or pop out.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey-o.
All right. So let's take on some questions and stuff.
5 minutes
comments.
jumping in already, huh?
Yeah, 5 minutes. What the hell? Jumping in. That's what she said.
Let's see here. He's correcting himself.
Supposed to be about how Vasquez, not good enough for Gregg, decimates Long, starter for Gregg. Yeah,
Oh,
I get it.
Did you see the video
No, I didn't.
of Long getting burned in the playoffs?
Ooh, you know what? This is really sad to say. I've been so busy. I ran that fundraising 5K this weekend, right? And then 2 weeks ago, I ran another event. And 2 weeks before that, I ran another event. So I have been fucking busy as
Hey,
shit.
let me write this down. Okay, yeah. Let me get it real quick. Our good friend Jose tagged us in it recently.
I've only had time to watch the Yanks abroad lately.
Where'd you post that at? Jesus Christ.
No MLS lately. I mean, not even the playoffs, which is, it's disappointing that I don't have enough time. But you certainly, if you have every channel in the world like I've got, and you can go watch all the games that Sargent plays, Pepi plays, Pulisic plays or not plays in this case. And then you got Aronson, you got Adams. I mean, there's just all kinds of guys I want to watch. Pefok. By the time I am done watching 10 or 11 games and catching up with all of them, because some of them are on at the same time, I got no more time to watch fucking MLS at this point, which is really disappointing. But, my team's out already, so.
Yeah, that's kind of my fault on as well, because it's just, once Chicago bowed out, I'm like, playoffs really don't mean that as much to me.
I mean, but I didn't even watch LAG in their playoff game, which they lost, but I didn't even get to it. And once I heard they lost, because I was going to go watch it, I'm like, oh, they fucking lost? Fuck that. I'm not rewatching that shit. I'm not watching that. So there's that. And the reason I wouldn't focus on like watching a Vasquez or whatever is because I don't think he has a chance in hell at making the World Cup right now. Sure. It doesn't matter how well he plays. It's too late for him to fit into Gregg's fucking, as you pointed out, his system. So not you, Brett. Paulette. So
all right, I'm too tired looking through. I know it's on here, and
fuck it.
I'm over it. I'm over it already.
All right.
Anybody want to tag me in that video of Long getting burned by Vasquez for the goal? Go ahead and do it on Twitter. I will see it, but I'm not looking anymore for it.
Now keep in mind they play totally different positions. So there's that.
Yes. But Long is supposed to be our speedy center back, though.
But we did see those arguments you sent me today about people saying, look at Ream. Look at Ream. Why is he not being called up? He knows Gregg's system. He's played in it. So, what's the argument to keep him out? Is he that slow? I mean, that much slower than Zimmerman, for instance?
Yeah, it was
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's an interesting conversation to have talking about Ream, because some people just don't rate him. Some people still don't think he's that great of a center back, but they acknowledge the fact that he's probably better than Zimmerman and Long.
Okay, hold on here. Some people say he's not that great of a center back. Well, if he's not that great of a center back, then his fucking ass would not be starting, and he would not be the captain of Fulham. I'm sorry, and Fulham are a decent squad this fucking time around in the Premier League. All right? I just don't understand that thought process.
Okay, I'm not going to play this because MLS and some are a bunch of dicks.
Fuck those guys.
So here's Long.
Yep.
Here's Vasquez.
Right up his butt.
Gonna skip through. There he is still.
Oh, he's going to the right side of his ass crack. Now he
realized, right. I got burned because he's been ball watching the entire goddamn time. He may have been able to keep up with him. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Look where he's looking. He's looking at the ball. And that's fine if you want to make sure, but you got to keep an eye on your player. It wasn't until Vasquez was passing before he's like, oh, shit. And Vasquez had an easy turn.
So I've watched good center backs play in that situation where they know they got a runner near them, behind them. They'll stick out a hand and run and just sort of know.
Kind of keep a hold of him, yeah.
Yeah. And just know where it is.
You got to keep tabs because.
Yeah.
So like
right here,
he's not doing anything.
He's got to have his arm out, feeling for Vasquez. And there he's definitely got to have an arm out.
Well, and it wasn't until Vasquez was in his peripheral that he realized it. And at that point, Vasquez is running full steam, and Long is sort of just like was keeping pace with the other players. And now he's getting burned.
The whole point of the arm, by the way, is if you can feel the guy, you know he's with you. But as soon as you can't feel him anymore, you know he's either broken off further right, so you can't touch him. So you better look over your shoulder and go break out right and go after him, unless there's somebody coming in front of you that's even a better target. But not in this case, there wasn't. It was just Vasquez. There was nobody to his left.
All right, it's right there. You can see him kind of glance over and see the Vasquez is right there.
Yep.
And at that point, it was do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do. Vasquez is just a little faster at that point. And it was a great ball.
It is. But, I mean, he's 2 steps behind at this point.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Who did that?
I mean, Long's had a very poor season.
Thanks, Chris, for that. And
for his standards, for his standards in the MLS, Long has had a bad season, I'd say. A poor to bad. And that is, he had a major injury, folks. Mm-hmm. Not everyone comes back from that at the same speed they were before. Chris Gary, Long should stick a leg out, take a red. You could trip him, but I think it would be easier if you just fouled him way earlier up the field. Then you would be yellow.
So, and I don't think, I mean, obviously under the high press with Gregg, our center backs are going to be in those scenarios where there's a lot of room for speedy players to run in behind. And yeah, that probably doesn't benefit Ream in the end. But I mean, I guess here's the concept. I mean, if Ream is able to play how he's playing in the EPL, how he played all last season in the championship, how he's playing in EPL right now, I mean, I gotta feel that he's capable of playing in a system in the international game. It's just, it's ridiculous and silly.
It is, and I mean, if you really think about the World Cup versus England, and we said this before, are we really going to play a high line, or are we going to play a mid block? A mid block,
unless the rest of our players just show up and we hand it to them, which big if. But yeah, it's going to be mid.
And you know, you can feel that out too. It's not like on Leeds, for instance, that Koch and what's his face are like Super Cooper, are fast ass motherfucking center backs, and nor are they necessarily that much better than Tim Ream. I wouldn't say they were, and yet Jesse can play a high line with those guys because he's got them covered with a double pivot, Roca and Adams. So you can get away with that in a double pivot, but we don't play a double pivot. So our guys are just left behind. What?
Thank Christ I wasn't sharing the screen because I was looking up a quote. I'm not going to do it anymore because I don't want to go back to this, but I was trying to find, while we were talking about Long and talking about players who've kind of been snubbed, I was going to pull up an interaction that Hercules Gomez had with Stu Holden on Brooks, because Stu posted his 11 or whatever, and Herc responded by saying, "Oh, now that Brooks has spurned up Mallorca, you don't like him anymore." And then Stu posted, like 1 game in 3 months, and he goes, and then Herc followed up with saying, "Zimmerman and Long aren't going to be playing for the next 34 days."
Yeah,
So, but I looked up Herc, and before I could find his before Twitter autofilled and pulled up his account, I hit enter, and if you happen to search HERC right now, a big, fat, massive black cock pulls up on Twitter. And I was just like, thank God I wasn't sharing the screen. Holy hell.
Jesus Christ. What is up with that?
So fucking dangerous out there.
Is Herc a code word for a giant black penis?
I have no idea.
All right.
That was just the strangest thing. I was like, I saw it. I immediately looked over to make sure I wasn't sharing anymore.
Well, you might want to look up Herc Gomez next time.
Yeah, do something. Wait for it to autofill people's names, man.
I think it is so hilarious that Stu and Herc go at each other on Twitter. That's fucking hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's always black cocks. For whom?
Whenever he's saying whenever a cock pops up on Twitter, it's always a black cock, is what he's saying.
Oh, I thought he was making a personal preference remark there. Brett.
I think you're going to be bleaching your eyes soon. My eyes!
Oh, no. I didn't know they allowed cock shots in.
I'm sure you are until you get banned. One of the two there. You can do whatever you want until you get banned. It's not illegal, and it's not legal on theirs until it happens.
On Twitter, you can do cock
Oh,
shots.
it's a Ted reference. I wasn't aware of that. I've seen Ted a couple of times in my time, but I have not seen Ted 2.
And we're not talking about.
Okay, not everybody's search results are good. It was there. I swear to God. It was the weirdest fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, I can promise you that's not something Brett sits around and thinks about. So,
Yeah.
big, large cocks coming up on his Twitter. So I'm sure it happened in real life. He's just not,
No.
making light of it.
I don't think. I don't know. I think Twitter give you exactly what you wanted back.
All right. More football.
It's still there. It's still there.
Can you flash it up real quick? Just a flash.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not taking that chance. Not on our account. Fuck that shit.
All right.
I will. Once it ends, Derek, I will show you the big black hawk. Okay.
Okay, I don't need to see it. But I mean, if they're allowing chicks to do nude yoga on YouTube, flashing their junk,
How are we going to spin this as educational?
here's what a big giant black cock looks like. And I think everyone should know because sooner or later you might see one in life. I don't know. I've never seen one in real life, but hey, that's it. Oh, yes, I have. What? I've watched porn. What am I talking about? Of course, there are black cocks all over the place in porn. What am I, nuts? Yes, I have seen large black cocks.
Unexpected intro. This has been 16 minutes in. We're talking about
Who's the gigantic
BBCs.
guy? Who's there? In the old days, it was Long Dong Silver was his name. And he had a giant master. And there's another guy, I guess. Anyhow, I don't know.
Peter North always comes to mind because he's our benefactor.
Peter North's not black.
Oh, sorry. They're just talking about big cocks.
He's probably Jewish. Peter North is probably not his real name. Anyhow.
Name one porn star that uses their real name. Jenna Jameson. Okay, fair enough.
Is that a real name?
She still goes by it. I'm not sure if it's her, name on her birth certificate by any means.
Nah, that's too bada. Jenna Jameson. She made that shit up. Come on.
Sure,
All
no,
right.
I don't doubt that. I mean, like I said, name one that uses their actual name.
How about Marilyn Chambers from Behind the Green Door? I believe that was her real, in fact, name. And she did baby powder commercials and baby oil commercials before getting into porn.
Berlin uses his real name.
Okay, I don't know. I guess. Well, as long as you don't impregnate those Polish porn stars, I guess you'll be fine. That's an inside joke. No, it's not. Everybody knows.
It's about as outside of a joke as it can be, man. There's an entire podcast, there's an entire live stream of him talking about impregnating Polish chicks.
Yeah, for money or for free, you think he said. All right. Derek Ritchie is a porn star and uses his own name. I had my own sort of life where I lived like a porn star, but
the chat has just turned into giant, like just all porn stars names popping up here. Back to your question about the BBC that you're asking about. Was it Antonio Brown? Oh, you didn't see Antonio Brown? Oh, never mind. Was it
Mandingo? That's him. Somebody
else had it before him. Way to go, Pink Taco.
Yep, that's him, Mandingo. He's famous. He's famous for that thing he's got. That should be registered as a weapon. Chris Gary. Brett's porn star name is Brett Cordick.
I'm very creative. I mean, all the creative juices aren't just up here. They're, anyways.
So he just keeps his first name. I don't know.
Bart.
It should be like Jock Cordick or something like that. All right. So what you were talking about? Something soccer? What was that?
Well, it's the end of the show, guys. Thank you for it.
No, we were talking about something. You were talking about it, and then you stopped.
BBC is the Bloomington.
That is true. but it's also known as Big Black Cock.
That's very unfortunate initials for that.
Yeah. One of the
Or
more
very good. That could draw on quite the college crowd there, Derek.
I think one of the bigger searches on Pornhub is BBC and
they're all about that British broadcasting company, huh?
And interracial.
Doctor Who porn.
What were the code words? Interracial and anal. Those were the big popular ones. All right. What do we got soccer-wise?
Strange that you know that.
I read it somewhere.
I'm sure you did. You read it on Pornhub's homepage, right?
I wouldn't be embarrassed to say I did if I did it, but I didn't. I've never put those three terms in together because interracial is not something I don't know. It doesn't give me like a tingle or anything, a special tingle that I enter that in there.
Where'd you go? This is a soccer show.
All right. He about to be sold for a lot of money for the better or worse. Not yet. He's not. He's got more work to do with Norwich, and he's not going anywhere if they get promoted, and they're going to get promoted more than likely.
So just for all of our blind listeners, the source says that many Premier League and Bundesliga clubs are taking notice of U.S. men's national team international Josh Sargent's production at Norwich, and they're showing interest, expecting a big price tag.
I don't like showing interest. That's just nothing. That's nothing. It's nothing.
That's the concept of whenever a young talent like a Pulisic or Reina or whatever, and you hear like Manchester United and Liverpool and Juventus and AC Milan and Barcelona are all keeping interest. Well, they're keeping an interest in everybody. They're keeping their seeing everybody. So that's. Yeah. I mean, of course, they're showing interest. They're like,
It's like, I went to 3 different high schools, and when I moved to my new high school, and I met got all the girls in my first class that I showed a lot of interest in, lots of them, probably about 70% of them. Then I kind of whittled it down, and by the time this gets whittled down, I don't think Sargent's going to be picked up by anybody in the Premier League quite yet. He's going to have to do this for a full fucking season.
Yep.
And Norwich are going to get promoted, and they're not going to let him go because he is the next Pookie. He's taking Pookie's spot.
And I guess if Norwich wasn't to get promoted, would you even want him to transfer anyways? Because at that point, he's their go-to striker.
Yep.
Occasionally winger.
Yep.
But he'll play game in, game out, and he's getting that confidence of scoring. I don't know if you really want him to transfer.
No, not if he got you there. Pookie got him there. They kept Pookie.
Yeah.
Bamford got Leeds there. They kept Bamford. So, you don't get rid of the guy who got you there.
Yeah.
Not typically. Chris Gary, I need Sargent to stay with Norwich. I miss waking up at 7 a.m. to watch Norwich lose.
Yeah.
I don't miss that at all.
Instead, you can watch Norwich on Friday, possibly if you have access, because ESPN doesn't show all of Norwich games. Generally win.
It's really irritating because you can see the big championship button on ESPN Plus. You're like, oh, I get to watch all the championship games too? No, only a select 2 a week. Well, what the fuck's that about?
I think Berlin meant to put air quotes on that, by the way.
Showing interest.
Showing interest.
Yeah.
Giggity. Hello.
Giggity.
I think I meant to say, oh, God, is what I would think.
All right. So I wouldn't put too much on this this tweet.
No.
I don't think that's happening for some time. And I think you'll need to score like 20 or 30 goals, honestly. But look at Fulham. They've held on to Mitrovic forever, regardless of all the money that's been thrown at them for him and all the offers that have been made for him after he scored, 60 goals last season? I mean, I'm exaggerating in the championship, but they held on to his ass. They're not going to let him go. He's the reason they got there.
Yeah.
So, and right now, Sargent's their lead scorer. Chris Gary, unpopular opinion. I love the Norwich kids. I do too.
I like their away one better than their home.
I like both.
I'm not. It's like, I guess I watch Norwich for Josh, and the yellow and green just don't work for him. But I think their other one does. I think it works nice. I think I like that one better.
Aren't they the Canaries?
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Their uniform makes sense to me then. So,
sure.
Not that there aren't Canaries of different colors. I suppose there are. Are they all
color
yellow?
is canary yellow though, so it makes sense that they have a canary yellow kit.
Are canaries yellow and green? Are there any other different types of canaries?
It looks like I watch birds. Fuck if I know.
I don't know. It's kind of like that assumption. I've only seen canaries that are yellow. Does that mean they're all yellow? Like if you woke up from into a new dimension one day and the first crow you saw was white, are you going to just assume that all crows are white? That's probably not a good assumption to make. So that's why I'm not assuming all canaries are yellow. The wine one is amazing. Yes.
I like it.
That's the one you're referring to.
Yeah.
I like both.
Didn't mean to do that. Chris Gary does say canaries can be green, which is probably why they have green with the yellow. Maybe those are the two only canary colors.
Aren't they typically green and yellow, though?
Fuck if I know. Do I look like I watch birds?
Come on, motherfucker. Get up on your bird research. I'm not even asking you, Brett. That is a question for the crowd and seeing if we have any purveyors of bird-loving folk here.
Chris Gary just gave us that they're green, too. So
what's the other word for bird? It's the official word. Dinosaurs were them, too. Because dinosaurs aren't birds. They're just in the bird family. There's another word for that, anyhow.
Sure has to do something along the lines of like aviary or like aviator. No, I don't know. Someone like an aviary is a bird place, isn't it?
Might be.
The place that has birds.
Anyhow, the point
Avian?
is avian. Yeah.
How about this one? Is that whatever that is?
That's Spanish for it. So no, it's like the avian flu.
Yeah. A YouTuber doesn't know his birds.
I have to admit, I know more about ants than birds, and that's just saying something. Hey, I used to be an ant researcher. All right. When I was a kid. All right. Next question.
Yeah. So I know we'll talk about Leeds later, but I wanted to bring this up because Scuff Podcast posted a nice picture of Leeds striker Bamford after taking his PK.
Yeah. That's sad.
He doesn't look very happy to be there.
No, of course. He shouldn't.
And look at that hair. What is that?
Bedhead.
That is somebody who's blown dried his hair to get it to a certain way that ran for a while and it just doesn't quite look the right thing.
It just looks like a guy who hasn't gotten a haircut for months. And months. Except for in the back, oddly enough.
Look at that look. He's cheesing for the camera. Nice.
Christensen.
Jesus Christ.
In the background.
There's a camera right there. It'll cheese.
I think that's more of a sign of stress because this is right before Bamford takes the kick.
Bedhead.
It looks like he gave head to Zeus. That's a good one. Yeah.
So, Colin here said, this is a different Colin, by the way.
Hey, good.
Different Colin.
I mean, not anything against the other Colin. I just like different Collins. That's good.
Yeah. He says, there's no chance he's scoring that. And Scuff says, well, do you think a haircut would have helped?
I don't think so.
I think some cold water on the face. Disallowed goal, should have stood, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah, it should have. I mean, I really don't even think he yanked that guy that hard, but that dude knew he was fucked, so he just dropped like a fly. And then, I mean, I watched the game a second time today, honestly, and I enjoyed watching it, even though I knew Leeds wasn't going to score, because it was just a fun game to watch, and it was well played. And I think, Jesse's got to be super disappointed.
Bucket, do you want to just jump into Leeds right now? Because I do have something I want to bring up.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So first off, I guess I want to say Leeds outright dominated that match.
Especially the second half.
That
was an ass beating.
Bamford had 3 opportunities he should have put away. Sinistera should have had at least 2 goals. 2. Aronson should have had a brace or a trio or a hat trick of assists.
Yeah.
He even had a decent shot from outside the box.
Somerville missed one too. That was just fucking point blank. He rammed it like 2 feet over the fucking bar.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have won that game 3-1.
Let's talk about this. Yeah, I do think Bamford did change the game coming in because Rodrigo plays a different style, and I think the high press, the mid press, low press that he was playing in the first half didn't necessarily benefit them all on the attack. But in that second half, they went to that high press and they were just nonstop in Arsenal's final half. The half
Up in their
all
grill.
fucking game.
Yeah.
Yes, the change made a difference because it suited the style they wanted to play. They need to play. They always play.
Right.
It
changed the
Bamford
game.
had his opportunities. He just didn't capitalize. So if he did make a change, that's great. But he didn't do it.
It changed the game in this way. He came in and made the game much more anally puckerful. Like he kept going, oh shit, he missed another one. Oh, It was a pucker fest. So that's how he changed the game. We went from oh fuck, oh shit, to oh my god, how do you miss that? So there you go.
Got a quick question on the late game antics, the 92nd or 3rd minute or whatever the fuck it was, when it was originally given a PK and a red card.
Yeah.
And then it was rescinded, the PK, but still given a yellow card. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it was PK, first off?
You mean the one Bamford took?
No, the one in the 92nd minute where the PK was given but then rescinded.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't think it was.
So I kind of stand.
A couple times.
I kind of stand in a different side than you on this one, because on the actual view of the game, my initial thought process was the guy defending and Bamford tried to run around because the guy was obviously shielding it for the goalkeeper to get it. Bamford decided to try to pressure, and I saw the defender kind of step into it. Now, when you went back and looked at VAR, it just looked like Bamford just pile drived him from behind, like you really wanted some.
But seemed like to me, but
if you look at the highlight reel, I feel like VAR did a disservice by starting it where it did, because if they went back a second or two, you would actually see the defender make eye contact with Bamford and then just sort of glance over to his left, ever so slightly, but it was enough to get in Bamford's way. And then even if you don't want to give him the PK, how do you not give him the red card for the extended of the foot? Because I feel like that was still done on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that becomes like a really tiddlywink thing to give somebody a red card for, number one. But I would have taken it as a fan of Jesse Marsh and Aronson and Adams, who both, by the way, played fucking great football. I mean, I'm just so impressed by those two guys. I mean, they're like the heart and soul of the team. The number of times Aronson, led the charge up the field and made the right pass. It's just astonishing to me to see how well he's fitting in there. And Adam he's just fucking everywhere. Everywhere. Now, does he overcommit on occasion still? Yeah, sure. But that's kind of his role.
But you also have Roca backing him up, though, so that's fine if he does overcommit. The problem with us is that if he overcommits with us, he's reliant on Long and Zimmerman. So
yeah, he's got no one to help. By the way, Roca had some weird moments where you're like, what the fuck was that?
But
why are you passing it? Or why are you not passing it sometimes? Or in the other times, I'm like, why did you pass it there instead of there? Mm-hmm. I just couldn't figure it out. He had some good moments, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I am not enamored with Mr. Roca so far. I think he's had some good games.
Again, it's ups and downs for me. There are times where he does some really good stuff, but then other games where you're just like, oh my God, he was like the worst player on the pitch. But the funny thing is, if you look at all the ratings on the team, Roca's almost always up there. I don't understand it personally. Maybe I'm just blind and not seeing it.
I guess for me, it's those particular situations when there is an obvious answer and he has the ball at his feet and he picks the worst answer possible to the question. And then you're kind of like, is he daft? Or is he just trying some crazy shit because he thinks that highly of himself?
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out yet.
I will say, though, as much as I've really enjoyed watching Aronson out there playing in the Premier League and kind of shutting down the naysayers, like, I don't think he's going to produce. And, he hasn't been bagging the goals and the assists by any means, but he does everything that's needed of him. And it's always the lead-up plays that lead up to the opportunities. Maybe he doesn't have the final pass for the assist or the shot on goal, but he's the one that's doing it. I will say my only beef with him right now is he's obviously the big criticism. He's obviously a small guy in stature. He's going to get tossed around a bit. But I feel like after the first 20 minutes of being tossed around, after that point, you're realizing the ref's not going to call shit for you. Stop sitting on your ass with your hands up in the air while they're making the counterattack on you guys. Mm-hmm. Get the fuck up. Go chase it down like you did in that first half, and get into that tackle with it. When you thought you got shit over by the foul. I mean, you just got to.
I'm sorry, a lot of those were not fouls.
Oh, I know, I agree. He takes the hit, he falls.
Yeah, he fell over too easily.
Saying, even if it did knock him over, let's just say it knocked him off balance. He maybe dove into it a little bit here and there, but let's just say he did knock. Get up immediately. Get your ass up. You're not going to get the call. Doesn't matter how much hand waving you do.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
Just get your ass up and run.
My other beef with him, and it's not a beef because this is like a small spam sandwich. This is what this is. I need him to shoot sometimes. And today, in that game this weekend, he had an opportunity on a through ball to shoot it. And then he made some weird pass that ended up at Sinisterra's feet all the way on the wing. And I don't know where he was going with that, but he should have just shot it.
Yeah. So, no, I yelled at my computer as if he could hear me through the ether, saying, shoot the fucking ball. Well, and my daughter was next to me. She goes, don't say that. I'm like, sorry.
Which word?
Yeah.
Shoot?
Shoot's not a bad word.
I think the problem in that situation is that he received it to his left foot. And you'll notice that Aronson is been very right-footed, and he's got to stop that. At some point, he's going to have to go left instead of right, and enforce the issue just to let people know he can do it. Otherwise, when people figure out you're a one-trick pony, he's going to go left, but he's going to eventually cut in right. So I'm not giving him – I'll let him have left. Fuck it. He can have it.
Yeah. So that's the only thing you can say at that point, depending where you're on the field, he may cut left, and that gives you the whole open field to make a pass with your right foot. But if you're close to the box, might as well grant him that.
His left foot's not bad. I don't know why he's so risk averse with the left.
A lot of I say this about a lot of professional players. It surprises me how reliant they are on their dominant foot.
Yeah,
I mean, I was wherever that. If I was anywhere near the goal, whichever foot it was on is the foot I was taking you with. My right foot was more powerful. My left foot was more accurate, and I would just do it. Whatever, scored quite a few goals. But obviously, at the rural Indiana level. High school level, so not international by any means, but Aronson has to be out there practicing every day, taking shit with his left.
I mean, they're
good with both.
There are guys in the classic era you couldn't tell left from right. They were great. Rummenigge, Beckenbauer, Pele, and of course I'm naming some fucking legends here, but you really couldn't tell.
God's really good with his left foot.
Cruyff.
Oh man.
But
you could save with both hands.
Even though they all had preferences, they could all do the same thing with left or right foot.
Yeah.
So I think that's an old school thing that was beaten to us when we were young. Hey, you got to be able to use both feet.
The funny thing is my dad never played soccer. He grew up in a time period where soccer was seen even more of a pussy sport than whenever I grew up. So no, he did wrestling, he did football, the standard American, motions. But when we started playing soccer, he was out there and, working with us, and he'd always say, regardless, he's like, no, you got to make sure you use both feet. Even him, who doesn't know the sport, recognize how dangerous somebody would be to be able to go anywhere with the ball.
Yep.
So
very true.
Oh, somebody brought up Nedved as one of those options. You utilize both feet comfortably and everything.
The Juventus legend. Yep.
Yes. And I miss him. I wish he's still at Juve. I mean, he still is, but
he's still there at the games. I see him all the time in the crowd.
He's looking at those players going, Jesus, man, I'm going to sign myself and go back out there. I swear to God.
He always has this kind of face on.
Yeah, he's not happy when he's not wearing a mask, but he's not a very happy guy looking at the current squad.
He didn't wear a mask the last game that I watched, Juventus game, and he was in the crowd.
It comes and it goes.
I think he's got to be part of that organization in some way in the front office, and I don't remember what it is, but he's got a role because he's there every single game with the owners and everybody else in the front office sitting there. So, Grant Wall alert! Grant Wall alert! Grant Wall.
We'll need to reach out to Grant.
Yeah.
See if we can get it back down. I mean, it'd be interesting to talk about this stuff and talk going from there, and not only just like because he talks about how Fox won't address the elephant in the room with Qatar, talking about the working conditions, human rights abuse, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
and it's a fair comment to make.
Yeah, but
Fox won't.
They won't, and nor will many others. And there's a reason why they won't, and the reason is Fox got that bid for the broadcast rights to FIFA from FIFA because they outbid everybody else, ESPN, NBC, etc. All right, for the World Cup. But in the contract that they agreed to, it doesn't say they're not allowed to say shit about Qatar and FIFA. It just basically is an understood thing that they will lose the rights to the 2026 if they have a bunch of guys like Stu, who's a total stooge. Stu's not going to say anything negative about Qatar or FIFA. And maybe Lawless would, but he's smart enough not to know not to do that. So he's not going to do it because they don't want to lose their broadcast rights for 2026 or lose the ability to make a pitch and be the biggest, highest bidder. Because, you know, if you fuck with FIFA, FIFA's going to say, I don't care if you're the highest bidder. This is going to ESPN because at least they won't talk shit about us.
I mean,
in this case, no, Jeremy Schaap.
How many times this cycle have people called out on the U.S. men's national team press saying that they're asking Greg softball questions? Why aren't they asking harder questions and pushing and pushing and pushing? Yep. And it's the same concept. And yeah, there are going to be some journalists out there, and Grant's one of them, who could probably get away with asking a hard pressing question.
But he doesn't.
But I'm saying he could. He has that enough pull to be able to do such a thing and still get called back in, because obviously if they don't call him the next time, he can make a stink about it. But that's the thing. If you push and you press, you might not get asked again next time. And we talked about this. We've talked about a number of people who've had this issue.
This is the problem when FIFA is in bed with Qatar because they have to. They already awarded them to it because Qatar bought it. They bought the World Cup from FIFA when the guy who smells like a fucking sausage ran it. All right? Sepp Blatter. Now we've got the infant running it. Sorry, it's my nickname for him. And believe me, he will, if the Fox announcers go out there and start busting on fucking FIFA for their corruption and the way Qatar got the World Cup and the way Qatar treats the workers, and FIFA's fucking turned a blind eye to it for most of it. And, you know, then they're not going to get the next broadcast, period. They'll sell it to ESPN or NBC or ABC or whoever bids for it.
I'll come back to this one.
Ain't going to be Fox. Here's the thing, Adam. There is a clause in the contract that allows FIFA to yank that agreement for 2026 at any moment. They can get out of that contract. Trust me, it's in there.
I will allow him to say that. I don't know, so I'm not going to say yay or nay to that. But I'm just saying
you don't have to.
Yeah,
that clause is definitely in there. They do it with every single TV rights broadcast that they do. That's 2 years or more. You at any point, FIFA can cancel the contract and seek a better representation in that country.
The buyout, more or less, a buyout clause.
Yes, it is. They will fork over some money, but if they really want to fuck Fox in 2026, they absolutely can do it, and that's why Fox is not going to touch this topic, because they want the 2026 broadcast rights. They already bought it, so they don't want to get fucked out of it by saying some crazy shit on live TV and then having Stu get arrested on the way to the airport out of the fucking Qatar, because that's what happened to a couple Norwegian guys when they talked some shit in Qatar.
That comes up in the thread itself. They talk about that.
I mean, I'm not saying this is a good system, folks. It's repulsive, but that's how this works. It's all about this, and it's all about who's got the power. And if you fuck with the guys in power, they don't even care how much of this you got. At some point, they're going to say, "We're still going to get a lot of this, but we're not giving it to you."
I feel like at this point, if FIFA could just let journalists do whatever they want, because if journalists come out and say like, "Oh, FIFA's corrupt, FIFA's taking money from Qatar, and look at all these people, they're blah blah," and what's going to happen? I mean, FIFA's going to be like, Okay, that was our bad. We won't do that again, guys. Sorry. They're still going to make the $8 billion next World Cup for all the advertisements and stuff because it's still a ticking beast. It's going to keep moving along.
And someone will broadcast it.
Yeah.
If BBC comes out and starts talking a bunch of shit, they're going to lose the UK broadcast rights. Guarantee it. But they're not going
Hard
to.
to know where it's going to go at that point because it's basically all BBC at that point.
Well, I know Grant later on makes the remark that Gary Lineker's already talking shit. No, he's not. He's not talking that much shit. He's brought it up, but I can bet you he's not going to do it once the World Cup starts. Just saying.
Chris Gary, I hope to God that this is a paraphrase.
Hey, sometimes you
direct
need
quote.
indentured servants to build a stadium. What's the big deal?
All right, so Grant calls it out, which is perfectly fine, and he's in the right to do so.
Yep.
Tact asks a question. It's an honest question. If ESPN had the World Cup rights here in the U.S., do you think they would cover that? And he responds. And mind you, he did a snide respond earlier, and it's in the other his overall thread, which I'm not pulling up right now. But this is the thread I wanted to go down.
Under Skipper, yes, who's I guess the guy that runs ESPN. I don't know who Skipper is. Under Pataro, maybe. Honest question, if ESPN had the World Cup rights here in the U.S., do you think they would cover that? I don't think they would. I don't think they'd say much about it.
ESPN's covering it right here.
Yeah, but they don't have the rights. They don't have the rights, and they've got no shot at the rights next time unless Fox shoots themselves in the foot, which they're not going to do. So ESPN already knows they're fucked. They're not getting the rights. They already bid for the rights. They failed and lost. So now they have it. They have nothing. They can just go after Qatar and FIFA. They don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Wow. Wall unblocked Tact. Yes, that happened some time ago.
He also called Tact that. He goes, for somebody who doesn't follow me, you interact with me a lot.
Let's just say that Wall heard through the grapevine that blocking Tact made him look like kind of a weenie man.
I mean, he didn't hear from us unless he sits down and watches our show.
Exactly.
But we did say that from the get-go, that blocking people is just bad optics, especially when you're that high up. It's best just to either mute them or ignore them.
Right.
Fortunately, me and Derek are the bad boys of U.S. men's national team soccer coverage, and nobody messes with us.
That's true. So far, nobody really has. Even though we've called them out on occasion, but in a nice way, in a jovial, joking manner. Tactical then says, could be. I feel like part of the agreement of the TV rights might have forced them not to talk about it. That's partially true. Correct. I can see the ones in charge of organizing the World Cup putting on restrictions. No, there are no restrictions. I just don't have any evidence of that. So there are no restrictions, Tact, but there is a
Don't
veil.
You dare say it. Don't you say it.
I'm sorry, but behind the scenes, there's a veiled understanding. You don't fuck with us, or you will get fucked.
Now, our opportunity to have the TV rights to a World Cup are shot shit.
That's okay. But that's the truth. Somebody's got to say it. There's nothing in the contract for the broadcast rights that says you're not allowed to talk shit about Qatar or FIFA during the World Cup. It basically says we reserve the right, FIFA, us, to renege on future agreements for future World Cups if you don't do what we like, if we don't like what you do. And that's very a vague statement in the contract. It's very vague on purpose. And believe me, they'll never say why if Fox comes out and does all this shit and says that stuff, and then they lose their rights to 2026. They're not going to say why. And good luck to Fox suing them for it. They have no shot at winning that because it's in the contract. Yeah. FIFA reserves the right to pull out of any future deal after the first World Cup. So there you go. If you want, you don't have to believe me. I'm not a fucking lawyer, although I briefly went to law school. How's that? Instead of speculating and implying the things that aren't true, he's talking to Tact?
He's still talking to Tact, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. That's a mean reply. Instead of speculating and implying things that aren't true, you don't know if they're true or not, Grant.
Well, and quite frankly, he's not saying this as a fact.
No, he said could be.
Feel like could be.
Yeah. He's not saying is or this is the facts. These are the facts.
He's inferring an outcome. of past instances. He's like, this could be an issue.
He's just trying to draw a conclusion based on some assumptions, and that's fine. That's what we all do here. Instead of speculating and implying things that aren't true, do the work. That's mean. That's like he doesn't do the work. What do you mean he doesn't do the work? This guy's like all up in the World Cup's asshole. So he's doing the work, Grant. Gary Lineker already said his UK rights holder will discuss Qatar human rights on air. That's fine. There aren't a whole lot of options outside of the people that are going to be broadcasting it in the UK. So, I mean, I don't know what channel you go to after that. I mean, there are other options. Sky, I think it's BBC who has the actual rights right now. I guess you could do Sky. I don't know. And I guess if they do say something, it's probably not going to be, a big feature piece. It's just going to be a statement or sentence or something. The Norway rights holder had 2 journalists detained for doing journalism last November. We already said that. Yes. So even if you go over there and you say some shit about Qatar, when you're trying to get on your plane to leave Qatar, you might not leave Qatar. You might find yourself in a cell. So there you go.
They're UK show or stations.
Right, Chris, but who owns the right? Is it BBC that owns the rights to the World Cup for UK? Let me know.
Yes,
I believe it is BBC.
I thought it was BBC. I thought somebody mentioned BBC, yeah.
Okay. So if not BBC, I guess, if Gary Lineker goes on like an hour-long rant about how fucking shitty FIFA and Qatar are, yeah, they'll yank the rights from him for the next World Cup and give it to Sky. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's in the contract. They reserve the rights, FIFA, at any point to pull out of future agreements based on whether or not they like how you covered it. And that could mean anything to them. Could you not have just answered or ignored my question, or you felt like that regular tweet was a personal attack? Because it was not. Oh, so Tax being nice. Okay.
Yeah.
With all due respect, Grant, you need stop acting like a baby sometimes. Okay, the respect is over.
Yeah. It was like, because it wasn't. Now you're being a dick.
Yes.
Now Wall, you're being a dick. Yeah.
Don't worry, won't engage or bother again. Have a great week, man. That's good.
Right, but yeah, he does kind of respond here.
Oh, based on the tone of dozens of your tweets toward me over a long period of time. Forgive me for not thinking you just want to have a thoughtful discourse over a beer. All right. I guess there's some fairness to that because, Tack can be kind of viperous. By the way, that's the word of the week, viperous.
There you are. I guess if you're not going to ignore him, if you're not going to mute Tact or ignore him, if you're going to respond, I feel like you kind of have to gauge each tweet as it comes rather than looking at the whole history. But if Tac's asking an honest question, he's like, hey, this is an honest question. Maybe it could be this. I mean, there was no actual implication that he was attacking Wall in any form.
Right.
Again, I understand where Grant's coming from. Yes, Tact has not been Tact is not, Grant Wall's number one fan by any means or any sort of imagination. But I guess if you're going to start interacting with people, unless you're just okay with bantering back and forth and just knowing that we're not going to have a civil conversation, but make it at least known at that point.
What happened
don't try to be civil, but then uncivil at the same time.
What happened was Grant saw his name and immediately thought this is not going to end well. Yeah. So I'm going to be the dick first. That's never a good way to start things. I mean, I can give you millions of examples of us interacting with people who were being dicks to us, to Brett on Twitter and to us in general, where it all ended out okay. Because, I can be a dick, but Brett's very nice. But I have learned from
social media aspect.
I have learned a lot from Brett about how to just be nice, Yeah. So, and not be viperous. Word of the week. Look it up. All right.
Hold on, just looking at stuff here.
Is that it with that? Those two guys?
Yeah, I mean that's more or less done. I mean, if I dug in, it'd take way too long to find anything else worth talking about. But it's usually just back and forth. I know there was one time where somebody had said hashtag Grant Wall's acting like a 4-year-old or something like that, and Grant responded by saying, "I'm not the one that's clout chasing."
Ooh, he said Tax clout chasing.
Inferring from that quote, yes.
Well, I hate to tell him this, but if he hosted a fucking YouTube show, he wouldn't touch TAC forever. Ever. He would never catch up to TAC's subscribers. Never. He just wouldn't.
And that's just the nature of the beast with YouTube in general.
So I don't know if he's chasing clout at all. He's just has an opinion.
Grant's got a massive platform. He's been at this for decades. Understandable. But when you're jumping onto a new platform, it would take time. We had talked about Conrad and his show.
Mm-hmm.
And how for a while, I mean, you had Conrad, you had Heath, you even had Davies coming on. For a while, their live numbers were less than ours. Mind you, they ended up pulling larger numbers in the long run.
Yeah.
Because, again,
they're former U.S. men's national team
exactly.
players, and we are not.
Yes. Yeah, and their show's good, too.
I like
our show's good, too. Mm-hmm. Probably better. But, but yeah. So
I watched that show. I also watched Best Soccer Show.
Yeah.
And none of those guys are pros, but, they've been around like as long as we have. So that's why I watch them. I've known them since back in the day. They don't know us, apparently, but I know who they are. I'm sure they know who we are, but
yeah. I mean, they knew the Miazga reference, so
yeah, they heard that from somewhere.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah,
we're getting to everybody.
All right.
Well, we're almost an hour in there. We should probably talk actual.
Pefok might be injured.
Yeah, I saw that he got some down the first or whatever.
I don't know how serious it is. I don't think it's a keep me out of the World Cup type of injury, though.
Could be a big enough excuse for Berhalter to say no.
He did get an assist. Right now, he's still the odd man out. I think Sargent and Pepi are probably going. And I think Pefok is the odd man out right now, whether or not he's injured or he's not.
Yeah, Sargent continues to score. We know that Ferreira tends to be have late the last handful of windows be Berhalter's number one right now. Pepi's finding his feet again, finally scoring goals, assisting, and stuff like that. So the question is, if we had to pick an odd man out, you have to unfortunately go with Pefok because we've been saying this for a while though.
It would be my personal preference.
We got to reiterate that because it's not our preference; it's who we think Berhalter is going to leave out and high and dry.
Right, and I think because I wouldn't take Ferreira, I'd take Pefok, Pepi, and Sargent. That's who I take. And some people are going to say, aren't those players too much the same? Not really, because Sargent can do everything Ferreira can do.
Yeah,
he can come back and get the ball, hold it up.
He does it. No,
he does it better than Ferreira.
Yeah. He does it quite a bit, but he does offer the opportunity. And as we're seeing with Norwich, he does offer the opportunity to play out wide as well. I'm not saying they will play him out wide, but I'm saying he could go in at any point. Let's say injuries God forbid injuries occur. And it's reliant on whether or not we throw in somebody like a Morris or an Areola or a Sargent out wide. Maybe you bring in Pepi, push Sargent out wide.
And Sargent's about a foot taller than he is, Ferreira.
Yeah.
So
I think he would have gotten that header.
Oh, yeah. That's a goal. That's absolutely a goal otherwise. So, yeah. I have nothing against Ferreira. But, this is a World fucking Cup. And
it's just, you have to take it with all of the context. Yes, he's scoring goals, bucket loads. When he has 18 before the season ended for FC Dallas. But that was, again, in MLS. And you kind of have to take that into consideration. Not saying that you take MLS, oh, geez, that they're way below everybody in Europe. We're not saying that. But then you throw him into the mix. And who does he score all of his goals against? It's everybody who's a FIFA ranking under 100 or above 100.
Would you say Pepi is a better player overall than Ferreira?
A better player,
better striker,
a better out and out 9, yes.
Okay,
but then again, I don't think Ferreira is an out and out 9.
So I get it, but Pepi went to the Bundesliga and he had a rough, tough fucking time, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And is any Bundesliga team showing any interest in Ferreira at all? No,
not that I know of.
No, the answer is just no, because he's not ready for that level of. Listen, he could next couple of years he could make that step, right? But now, I couldn't say
21. That. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. S27, thank you. We really appreciate that.
Appreciate
the
that,
199. I think Zardis is Gregg's fourth choice forward.
Jose's got the response. Don't even need to say it. You take that back.
Yes. Let's hope not. Let's hope not. I would hope not.
So again, and I see a lot of yeses. Pepi's better than Ferreira. And again, I want to reiterate that even though Ferreira's scoring goals ridiculously amount, and it's just like you said, when he had like 18 for the season, that's pretty damn fucking good.
That's not.
I would love that production at
though.
Chicago.
That is not ridiculous. 18 goals is it's good. Is what 18 goals is.
Well, I don't know
Who's the lead scorer had 20. You get in the 20s, I'm going to start spanking it.
I guess I'm jaded as a Chicago fan at any team that has a striker that can put 18 goals away. So fuck it, that's phenomenal, Derek. That's
your
world
problem.
fucking class, man.
It's your problem.
It is my problem, I know.
I went to a why was I even in the store? What are those called? Used clothing store?
Vintage story, Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Okay.
And I saw a Fire jersey from the old school one.
Wow.
It was
Hopefully you bought that, right?
$7. I did.
Fucking A.
You want me to go get it? I'll show it to you.
Yeah, go ahead and get it. I'll answer this
Sure.
question.
All right.
All right. So David Wheatley says, do you rate Sargent on the wing ahead of Morris and Areola? Yes. I'll expand. Yes, I do, because he did it at a high level in EPL, even though despite the fact he played for a crappy team, he still played all right. And then on top of that, he's playing the championship, and he's scoring goals from the wing. So, yes, I would absolutely, at this point, start him over Morris and Areola. Oh, look at that, the Quakers.
I'm gonna
it looks more like a practice kit than anything.
I'm gonna mail it to you for your kids. It's too small
Derek,
for
you're
me.
like down the street.
That's right. What am I talking about? I'm not limited.
You could throw it to me.
I'll throw it in your mailbox on the way to work.
On the way to your parents' house on one weekend. Dude.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about that. Yeah. Going
Because
the opposite direction.
I saw the size and I'm like, oh, eventually Jack will probably fit in that. So, but I'm way too large of a mammal for that. David Wheatley, you already
I already said yes, and I explained why.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
I explained that Sargent was doing it at a higher level in the EPL despite the fact he played for a crappier team. And then he also is doing it in the championship now and scoring goals.
Also, you can take that E out of Sargent. It's Sargant. Not to be too much of a stickler, because there was a race car driver named Logan Sargent in Formula 2, who's an American.
I've been just referring to him as Sarge on Twitter to save characters.
The Sarge. Josh.
Sarge.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I bring that up is because Logan Sargent is doing really well. More than likely, he will take the other Williams seat in Formula 1 for next season.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Brett cares.
Not in the slightest. No.
Hey, Jake likes F1 too. That makes
you got a couple of fans in here. I mean, I'm sure if you were to start a podcast for F1, you'd probably pull in one or two people.
F1 is huge, dude.
I was gonna say if you throw F1 in anything, we should probably start throwing F1 in our titles just to try to pull them over. And people are like, I listened to the whole 2-hour show. They talked about F1 for like 2 minutes at the beginning. What the fuck?
And that guy Brett doesn't even like F1.
This is bullshit. A comment section would blow the fuck up at that point.
Well,
Brett, you're a fucking moron. Yeah, possible.
I'd love to do Formula 1 coverage from an American perspective, but that would really require an American driver at some point. So since we haven't had one since Rossi drove in 2007, 6, yeah, it's not really worth covering on a podcast an American perspective of Formula 1, because there really isn't much of one except for Americans own Formula 1. Nate Wiersbicki, Sargent, 10 contributions in 10 games in the championship, by far more challenging than MLS, and he seen the Venn diagram for all he brings to the table that the others just don't. You know, the funny thing is, Brett, do you remember me saying the following words? And I think you may have chimed in on this too. Well, just wait, because one thing Sargent does when he plays against lower level teams is score a whole fucking lot of goals, because he did it with Werder Bremen in the cup games. and he did it during the cup games last season for Norwich when they played lower level teams. Here he is, just doing what we expected. I mean, the season started off, we were a little nervous, but
and he may have found his level at this point. And he's still young too. He's like 22, isn't he? 22, 23 range.
He's wet his whistle and had a kid already, but yeah.
I guess you got to kind of take into comparison the same leagues that all three of the players played in. When you compare him, Morris, and Ariel, and both Morris and Ariel had their spell last season with Swansea, and one resulted in an injury, and the other one resulted in did Ariel get injured too? Yeah, he got a couple games.
They said he had an injury.
Yeah, and he got sent back. But I'm trying to think back to Morris before he got his injury. How was he doing in those 2 or 3 matches?
Not bad. He was fast as fuck still.
I think he probably could have contended in the championship and done well.
Oh, yeah.
Would he have scored the 8 goals and 2 assists that Sarge has already in the first 2 months?
10 games? No.
I don't think so.
No.
Now, of course, you can also take into consideration that Norwich is in second place in the championship. I guess Swansea was competing.
They weren't that bad.
Yeah, they were competing that season. Never mind. I take that back. Pretty equal comparison there.
And
I'm not saying that Morris wouldn't have produced in the championship, but obviously his knee injury fucked him.
I mean, he's not even close to DK. But Sargent's going to blow away DK's record.
He already has, hasn't he? No, he had 9 goals or something like that.
Yeah, but he'll beat DK by the end of the season easily. No, we don't even talk about that guy anymore because he's been injured for an eon? A parsec? Isn't that what that's called in Star Trek?
Yeah.
Been injured for a parsec?
He's waiting for him to return.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got anything left here? Have we shot our wad?
I'm sorry. He goes, no way, Brett. It actually takes clinical finishing. Morris is a speed merchant.
Was.
And yes. And I'm not saying that's what I'm saying. I don't think he'd be putting up the numbers, quite frankly. He might not even be placed out wide anyways for a championship team, quite frankly.
He didn't have a really great season for Seattle.
Yeah. Again, we're also talking about his return after 2 knee injuries.
Yeah. It's serious. It's serious. Fuck. I've had knee injuries. You've had one. Imagine having a few of those. I mean, you're just not going to be coming back the same way you were before. There's
Absolutely
just no way.
It's all mental game, especially. You're just not quite as stable and everything. It's all fucked up.
Look at Gideon Zalalem, how that affected him mentally. He's even talked about it at length in interviews. Yeah. He's never come back from that mentally.
Gooch talked about it after his.
Yes.
He's like, dude, after I came back from my injury, there were times where I would make a cut and I would think that my knee was just going to pop.
Ready to pop.
And it was all a lot of it was mental. Now, you may have been strong. Your knee may have been as strong, if not stronger. They claim as stronger. I don't know if that's true. But it's definitely a mental thing. You're not making those cuts like you used to.
I mean, it's not like when you have Tommy John surgery. All the pitchers get that now because they take a tendon from your leg and put it in your fucking elbow and your arm, and of course it's going to be
with some rubber bands they got from the operation.
I mean, they're replacing tiny rubber bands with gigantic rubber bands. So yes. Hey Jake, what's up, baby?
So he would listen to an F1 podcast with you.
Hell yeah, Jake. Maybe we should get one set up together.
Start talking F1.
I don't know.
Don't interrupt your time on this show, though, Derek.
No, dude, I don't have much time left between work, soccer shows I've got to watch, soccer games I've got to watch, and this show. I've got no fucking time. So I might as well go buy that fucking sex doll because that's the only time I'm going to have to myself. Because spanking it's getting kind of boring. All right. I'll bring Paredes. I think Paredes is impressing. I think he has made a statement by saying, look at me, I'm here, and I get playing time. Maybe just the last 10, 15 minutes in every other game or whatever.
Did you watch the match versus Gladbach?
Where he almost scored?
Yes.
Is that the one where he almost scored? Yes.
Yeah. So he looked quite comfortable being out there.
Yeah.
So there's definitely promise moving forward with him. Would you take him? He's saying he would take him over Morris or Areola. Okay, sure.
Maybe
I mean,
too young, maybe yet. I don't
a
know.
little lack of experience. But let's put it this way: if Berhalter stepped out and brought him over Areola, I wouldn't be going, "Oh no, Berhalter, why?"
Yeah, I don't think Morris is going to make the team anyhow, guys. So
Yeah,
I just don't
Heat
think he
fans,
is.
he goes Paredes off the bench would tear people up. He looked great against Gladbach. Now Gladbach, I think both Scally and Gladbach looked good in that game. Paredes obviously almost had the goal to finish off Gladbach in the final 8 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I thought it was a fun. I caught the last half of the match. I think at the second half or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep.
Is Nicholas Bowen says Paredes a left back or left winger? The answer is yes.
Yeah, well, he's more of a winger, than a back. But
he plays left. He plays back, and he actually played right back in the some of that match against Gladbach.
Right, and the other time I watched him, he was playing right winger. So I don't know if when's the last time he played on the left? I don't know if I can even remember it, but maybe he did recently. I don't know. Yeah,
he did in the
Gladbach
the
match?
U20 Cup.
Oh yeah,
he played out left.
Well, that's because we don't have a plethora of left backs to pick from. So
it's a fun word too.
Plethora, yes.
Plethora.
It's a good.
My dad found out about that word because him and my mom do crossword puzzles, and they found he's like, this word means this, and he's like, I don't know, and they looked it up, and it's like plethora, and mom's like, oh yeah, and he goes, and it's like, that's not a fucking word, and then looked it up, the actual definition is like, then after that, everything that could possibly be utilized at abundance is like plethora. I'm like,
sorry, Dad, you're overusing it.
I figured out, I understand that you figured out a new word, but we move on.
It's a plethora of pletheras. Too much, Dad. Too much. Yeah. All right, we about done?
Did you want to talk about any of the Yanks abroad?
Oh yeah.
I mean, we talk about Pulisic. That'll take 10 seconds. He didn't play.
Weah had 2 assists in 25 minutes. That's a really good jumping out of the gates for him. Haji Wright had 2 goals, and they still lost for Antalyaspor. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I don't write down the team names, so I have to remember them. Green and Tillman both played. Tillman played 11. Green got his starting job back. He's played now several games in a row.
Yeah.
They tied against Hansa Rostock. And Ryan Malone, who's another American playing into Bundesliga that no one talks about, probably because he's like 38. No, he's not that old. Busio, Novakovic, Tessman, Lille, and De Vries. Team America Venezia. Team Venamerica. Busio went 66, Novakovic 24 in the loss. Another loss to Novakovic's ex-team, Frosinone. And Tessman was in the 18, didn't play. Lille did not dress. De Vries did not dress. So they're slowly getting rid of playing Americans there. Weah, UPS kind of night. So he delivered? That's what you're saying, Daniel?
Yes, that's great, because I didn't catch that until you just said that.
Yeah, I like that.
I was looking at that going delivered. Nice. That's great.
Spider, thank you for the $2.
Appreciate that. Awesome.
Then Reem and Jedi both went 90 in a tie in a game that was really fun to watch, by the way. Chandler was in the 18 for his team, Frankfurt. Scally went 90 versus Paredes. We already talked about that in a 2-2 tie. What happened with McKennie this week?
I watched part of the first half. I ended up having to leave, though.
Okay.
So I never finished it. So I don't know the results of how he played. He's still. I mean, obviously there are moments where he still looked a little rusty, and he's still working on that. But he looked sharp for the moments that I saw. I mean, nice one-touch passes moving forward. Not doing a lot with it, really.
Maybe I should have watched that instead of watching the Leeds game twice.
No.
I forgot about.
I guess other people were saying that he looked bad. Again, I only watched the first 20 minutes or so, because then I had to leave. But damn, that sucks.
Well, he didn't look that hot last game.
So
either.
this is a big thing. He's being criticized over his body fat percentage. There was a picture of him, grabbing the bottom of his jersey, wiping off space, everything, and you can see a little pudge overflow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it looks like looks like he's got to watch out about that Italian cuisine. It's
It
not
should
good
not
with them.
be that hard. Just stop eating all that spaghetti. Seriously, stop. It's too many carbs. Come on, McKenny.
We had spaghetti nights all the time before games. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's got a fucking nutritionist. He can
Yeah.
he can hire a private chef
was-
to make him meals that
I
are
mean-
awesome that don't have carbs.
Yeah.
World Cup is almost here. Excited, nervous, midnight man.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say both. Both.
I'm always going to be excited for the U.S. in the World Cup. Obviously, I'm nervous in the fact that we haven't been playing good.
I won't. Well, okay. To be fair, I'm not nervous right now.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But game night, first game.
Oh, I always
Yeah.
Even when the U.S. have been like playing well through some windows and some matches, I always have butterflies. Like there was the game against Panama where we won like 5-1. It wasn't until they put away that fourth goal that I was finally like, okay, now I can relax.
Yep.
I don't think Panama's coming back from this now.
No.
You know?
I mean, even that time in the Confederations Cup when we went up 2-0 on Brazil and we went to the second half, I was still nervous. I was like, this lead may not hold.
Rightly so, because
Yes.
they ended up coming back and winning 3-2.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's
Thanks
World Cup
Midnight Man
time.
for that $1.99.
Yeah,
Looking
appreciate
forward
it.
to the World Cup. Taking my half days so I can watch every single USA game.
And by the way, Midnight
All
Man,
three of
have you started your country band yet? That's what I want to know. I'm a Midnight Man. Yeah. All right. Get on that. Horvath, 90 minutes in a win. Dwayne Holmes, 67 in a loss. Stefan went 90 in a loss. Did not look that fabulous from what I get from reports from England.
Again, if Stefan continues to play and continues to do okay, if not goodish, does he take over for Turner in Berhalter's system?
We all know the answer.
I think that'd be the big question because we know who's going to start at striker. I mean, barring unless somebody else overtakes McKennie in the midfield or Rain is ready to start by that point and plays in the midfield or Aronson plays in the midfield. But we know all that. I think that goalkeeper position, I think there's the obvious one and then there's the Berhalter one. So,
well, the obvious one's Turner, and then the
Yes.
Berhalter favorite is Stefan.
yeah.
And I don't think center forward's necessary. I will have to say that I think there's a good chance Pepi could start that first game, not Ferreira.
And it's a great point because it's possible that Ferreira's only been his number one because Pepe's been on a slump for over a year.
I think so.
Now that Pepe's getting back up there, it's possible that Pepi becomes the new number one.
I think so. Adams and Aronson, we've already talked about. EPB came in the second half and played 45 in a tie. That was weird to not see him start.
That seems sorry, yeah.
Pefok 67 and an assist versus Reina, who went 16 minutes for Dortmund. Not much to say there. Not enough time, really, to get a good grip on where Reina's at quite yet. Dest in the 18. Yeah, this is depressing. Dest in the 18 did not play. Luca De La Torre in the 18 did not play. Just disappointing. Sam Vines went off with an injury after 17. Odasawi did not play. Hey, Ledesma played 30 minutes for PSV2 once they were up 5-0. He got some time. They went up. Oh, they were up.
Weird.
They were up 5-1 over Utrecht when he came in, and they ended up winning 6-1. Taylor Booth got 74 for Utrecht in that losing affair. So he's back and playing. Cardoso played this weekend. Altidore is in the 18, did not play for Puebla. Tillman went 90 and got a goal for Rangers in their win. Sands rode Pine for 90. And that's about, well, I'll do this for our friend in Germany. Terrence Boyd went 90 and a loss for Kaiserslautern.
You still in the chat there, Berlin?
So we
Probably
thought
in bed, man. Jesus, it's gonna be like 3 o'clock this time.
3 o'clock in the morning in Germany, yeah. Nate, where's Bicky? Brett and Derek, formation-wise, 4-2-3-1 with Pulisic, Reina, Weah, Sargent up top, Musa, and Adams dual sixes. I think that's kind of how we mapped it out. I'm basing that on form, obviously, potential that, and what Pulisic and Reina bring wearing the crest. So I would be fine with that.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty
but-
much what we went with, anyways. Yeah.
Except I don't think we put. Is he having Reina in the middle playing
Yeah.
center forward?
Yeah.
I mean,
No. Reina's in the midfield, the 10, with Sargent up top.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we did have that lineup with Pulisic, Weah, Sargent up top, Reina right behind him, and Musa and Adams playing the dual 8-6s. Excuse me? Yes, that's what we wanted. But we're not going to get it. You can want and want and want, but you're not going to get what you want because you can't always get what you want.
What you want.
Because Gregg's going to give you what he thinks
Sometimes.
he needs, not what you need. Or
Well,
what the team needs, what he needs.
what Berhalter thinks you need.
Yes.
We
All right.
got a response here from our good friend Jose. The only reason to bring Sebastian to the World Cup.
Sebastian, which Sebastian?
Legit.
Okay. I guess that's his wife.
Yeah.
In slow-mo.
Yep.
Well, he's a fairly decent looking man, so it's not surprising that he has a fairly attractive wife or girlfriend. I don't know if they're married. I think they're married. I don't know. It's none of my business.
So they got married. They got married. It was when he first took his hiatus from the national team, like when he first wasn't called in. I think they were on their honeymoon, and then he never got called back in after that.
Well, I hope he had
Berhalter's going like, you made your honeymoon on the week of a World Cup qualifier.
That's what happened to
Never
Miazga.
again.
Miazga did his during the Gold Cup.
He's like, your family member has a wedding. Get the fuck out of here.
By the way, Miazga continues to play well for Cincinnati.
Yep.
There's that. It doesn't matter.
And continually long got burned by Vasquez. I remember that.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay. So we had a good friend of the show tell us that sometimes the YouTube or the Twitter questions get distracting for the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
So did you want to go over the Twitter questions, or do you want to do that on a recorded session and post that later?
Yeah, we'll just post it later. It's already an hour and 20 in.
All
It could take
right.
forever.
I expect to see you in the chat who said that to us. I even brought it up on Twitter recently, but no.
All right.
No,
Well,
we're an hour and 20 minutes in, guys. We'll get the Twitter questions done afterwards and just post it as a video.
Yep.
So that way you guys your questions are still going to be responded to here.
Okay. All right. Hey, we want to thank all of you for continuing to support us in this slow time, this slow build before the World Cup. We didn't really go over what we drank tonight, but that's okay. You know we are. And
We are drinking.
yes,
You're right.
we are. We always do. And keep tuning in.
It was funny, Derek. My wife was telling her mom about it because she's in town. She's like, yeah, Brett always has, like his drink, it's like whiskey or bourbon or whatever. And then Derek, Derek doesn't really partake in the alcohol, but he does the, I go, no, Derek drinks too.
He does both. Does both.
No. We're getting it.
No, do it.
Do it. Comes down. What?
All right. Go ahead. Let's do
You
it.
want to run through them?
Yep.
All right. Okay, guys. We tried to warn you, though.
You guys are a horrible influence.
By the way, the guy who made that suggestion, still love you. Just playing around with you on that one.
It's an hour and 20 minutes. It's like, at what point do I
He's
get
stuck with us this long, though.
I know. I need to get ready for tomorrow. Ladies and gentlefolk, prepare to be entertained, horrified, and even slightly offended. TRC is live tonight, 8:15 p.m. EST. No animals were harmed in the recording of the show. No World Cup for some striker, but who? No animals were harmed. Yep. Nope. We don't do that here. We love animals.
The show, yeah.
We love animals. Dude, believe me, if I see someone even touch a dog in a negative fashion, I'm all up in their grill. Don't you fucking touch that dog that way. Northern Lights or Kush? Jenny.
I have no idea what that first thing is.
Northern Lights. Actually, I did sherbet mix with Jenny. I believe that's what it was. Is there another way? Sorbet. Sorbet. I believe it's sorbet or sherbet mixed with Jenny.
So you're actually talking about the
Jenny Kush.
The sherbet with
it's a blend. Yeah, you can buy all these different blends now. Like, so I get the one that is perfect for me. i.e. does not make me paranoid.
All right, so
doesn't make me sleepy. I don't like that shit either.
The sherbet talk earlier is not necessarily sherbet, but is in fact another name for the wacky tobacco, if you will.
Yes, it's another.
Gotcha.
It's a blend. Yes, it's a blend. It has a high euphoric. It's high on the euphoria. Graf Boussier, one of our favorites, hockey players. Now, I don't know if you're a hockey player, but with that name, you should be playing hockey.
Yeah.
Probably for the Canadiens. Bro, how do you not know Northern Lights? It's the weed that's in the office. Oh, well, sorry.
I've seen enough Office episodes to fit on one hand.
I've seen a lot more than that, but
I've never really watched the show.
Here's what happens to me when I watch shows sometimes.
Nothing against it. I've been entertained in those handful of shows, but
here's what happens when I watch some of those shows. It goes in one ear, I laugh, goes out the other ear, and then it's forgotten. I'm sorry, but that's just what happens. There's too much going on in life right now. We don't have a striker problem. We don't have a striker problem anymore, but we have a manager roster selection problem. Wouldn't it be nice to call up 3 or 4 guys that can all do different jobs? Play 2 up top. You have Jesus. Need good link-up play. You've got Josh and Pepi need a goal. You got Pefok. All good points that we brought up here.
Yeah.
And you brought up here as well, Chris. So,
100%.
But Greg will Greg. I don't even need to read the rest of that. I don't.
I love that it's been a colloquialism.
Yeah.
There we go. That's been created this cycle. Is like, Greg's gonna Greg.
Greg's gonna Greg.
Greg's gonna Greg.
Excuse me. All right. Are we done? Is this all?
Yeah, we were waiting for that. Berlin was like, that's his favorite part of the episode is when you're like, are we done yet?
I would bring Sargent, Pefok, and Pepi if there are only 3 spots.
Spots, I mean to say, I'm sure.
Add Ferreira if we take 4. I mean, we could. I don't think Morris is going. I don't think Morris is needed. So I'd take 4. Hopefully,
but he could play as a striker, though, if need be.
No, he couldn't. Hopefully Ferreira, because he's not a striker. Yep.
And then the who gets left behind question. Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Does this imply that animals were harmed in the recording of other shows? No, it does not. However, we have metaphorically watched Matt Miazga injure animals.
I said no comment, and then look what's here.
Metaphorically.
Now just imagine that ball being the dog.
Yeah. I tell you what, if he ever did that to a dog, I'd fucking figure out a way to hunt him down, beat his ass. Lou, when he wasn't looking, I'd cheap shot him. So.
You pulled Miazga, huh?
Because he's 6 foot.
Grab him by the dick?
No, I wouldn't. I'd just punch him in the face. Lou Coutry. If it were up to me, I'd bring Sargent, Pepi, Pefok, and Vasquez, since all 3 of them are hot at this time. I don't know how you can say Ferreira's not hot too. We all know Greg will bring Ferreira, Pepi, Sargent, because they play his crappy system since the 9 isn't supposed to score. They're supposed to play forward in the system. Good point. Derek on a 16-hour flight to Australia. Stewardess, are we there yet, sir? We haven't taken off.
Here's Jose Lopez talking about my dog noise of Miazga kicking. He goes, don't make the noise. It makes it real.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. I do. When you do that, I'm like, no, don't do that. I don't even want to think about it. Guys, you don't have to warn me. If it ain't offensive, it ain't TSRC.
I'm glad we got our niche in the soccer community.
Yeah. 3rd Division Dagestani League MVP. I'd like to throw my name in the conversation. First of all, there is not a Dagestan. Maybe there is a 3rd Division
it's
in
the
Dagestan.
Sky One.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, Craven Moorhead. Aren't we all? Yeah. Whatever striker gets called up, Leeds should put them on the short list for transfer targets. Huh. Jesus, their 9s suck. They played a great game against.
I want to say that's not Jesus. I think that's actually Jesus.
Jesus, their 9s suck. Sorry, all this Jesus and Jesus stuff kind of gets confusing after a while. They played a great game against a very good team, and they were undone by some unforgivable finishing. They are targeting Lou Sassol from Torino. Well, they need to target somebody for the loose asshole.
Yes. Oh, the entire comment was on par, and it was great because it's like I was looking at him like, man, I expected more from Mitch on this one, and then all of a sudden you said, "I'm like, no."
Loose asshole. I love it. That's a great one.
No,
Man,
Mitch, that's got to be one, guys. Anybody? That's one that you got to reuse. That's a good one.
that is a good one. Use that on Pete.
Oh my
You
god!
would definitely get Pete with that one. All right, because you got me for 1 second. I hate to break to everyone, but Bamford would 100% make the U.S. men's national team. Would he? If Gregg were the coach, he should make the U.S. men's national team.
I know that Jesse's high press is a different formation than what we play our 4-3-3 in. If he were to play a lone striker role, Bamford would fit in perfectly. Unfortunately, I would much prefer him to be scoring goals to be called in, but
I'm just going to say this, but Jesse Marsch and Gregg Berhalter are not good friends.
really,
No, they're not. Have you ever heard them say a good word about one another at any point?
I don't recall them actually saying much about any of them.
What your grandmother used to tell you, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's what's going on here. All right.
Derek Berhalter doesn't say anything about us. Does that mean that he doesn't like us?
I'm sure he doesn't. If he knows about us
If
at
he
all.
knows who we are.
Yeah. Want to horrify people? Try explaining why our starting center back got burned by striker who isn't World Cup ready in the eyes of our coach, but so said CB is about to play against some of the best strikers in the world. Oh, and if he does, he's going to get burned. Yeah. It's going to be bad, guys, if that's what happens. I hope it's not.
Everybody in this audience stabs her, just so you know. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched the movie.
I don't even know.
This is not another scary movie.
Was this a scary movie?
Yeah, not another scary movie. Yeah, that's some
I
scary
am
shit.
some scary shit.
Because everyone's like telling her like, "Be quiet, be quiet," and she takes a phone call, and then what ended up happening? The guy who's playing the Ghostface character, like from Scream, was going to kill her, but then everybody else in the theater stabbed her. So he's just like, "Okay."
That sounds funny. It's funny enough. Let's see. Angry Vet. Gonna deliver it straight. Triple G believes most players can only play one position. Reyna is listed as a forward because to him, he is a forward. Same goes with Aronson. Sargent is a striker center forward, not a winger, despite how many goals this year are coming off the wing. Yeah, I don't know. Gregg's talked about being flexible.
Aronson's the only one that I can think of that's really been moved around.
Oh, this is interesting. Long does a good job on ball sniffing. Ew. God, I did not know that about him. So he is in. Roldan will be fit because of Cupcake. So he is in. I don't think so. Haji Pefok, doesn't matter. If they score hat tricks, they're on out. I think you're probably right about that, especially with Pefok getting injured. They are out because they don't fit. That is true. Stefan is GGG's number one. Probably true. Man, you're just hitting with us a load of hammer of that's probably true. Yes.
He doesn't live in Disney Fairyland, so.
Yep, he doesn't. He's taking it, keeping it real. If Pepi scores one more goal, GGG will be tempted to drop Sargent so he can bring 4 right backs, 5 center backs, and a Morris plus Areola. Tillman is out. I don't know. Tillman just scored. Form match fitness is nothing when it comes to his guys. Frankly, anything else, barring injuries, is Disney thinking. All right.
I had a bat.
You go for it, man.
I give him the like for that, too. He's Disney thinking. He's using some of our trademarks.
Yes.
All right, hold on. I want to jump back to one real quick. Where'd it go? There you go. So the way that he's saying the way that she died in the theater is not as funny as how her boyfriend died.
I have no clue.
Her boyfriend died from a glory hole that ended up shooting a knife went into his ear, basically. Like there was he
stuck his ear through the glory hole.
I saw a glory hole, and there was like a tongue or something was in there. So he put his ear to listen, and then all of a sudden the knife went, Yeah.
Well, that's a weird reaction to stick your ear in a glory hole. Usually there are other things that go in it.
Oh, that's that's right. It was in fact.
It was a penis.
You guys have to remember, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. But that's, yeah.
I was starting to wonder if you knew what a glory hole was. All right.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. I would have brought it up otherwise.
Of course. No, you've participated in plenty of glory holes. All right.
Many a truck stop.
All right. Are we done yet? Gregg Berhalter. It was great to see you guys on Sam's show last week. Thought Derek was going to die or something at the beginning. Glad he got that cough straightened out. Yeah.
Yeah, your cough was totally audible.
Jenny Cush totally got me at the wrong time.
Sam's like, we're going to have the guys.
Yeah. That's what you call too big of a hit. Yes. So.
Well, that was a great lady never. What is it?
As a receiver, right, Brett? Yes.
The gentleman never speaks, and the lady never tells. Or is that how it works? Or is the lady never speaks, and the gentleman never tells?
Yes, Brett was the one on the toilet seat. Yes. Just.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Sam Cuts, an expat.
Yep.
Do you think the media criticism will affect Gregg Berhalter's final roster selection? I don't know. Probably not.
No.
And we have some glaring holes. Speaking of glory holes, center back and left back. Any chance? No, left back we got Jedi. Any chance Jones gets called into the MLS October camp? No,
Jermaine?
Yeah, I'd love Jermaine, but he's talking about DeJuan.
Yeah, it's not going to.
Lastly, is the things that Gregg Berhalter learned that long isn't the answer, and we can't have Dest as left back. No, we won't have Dest. If Jedi's healthy, it's Jedi and Dest. Period.
I think the things learned has to do with Musa not being in there. Like, we must play Musa.
Yes, I'd agree.
Yeah. I don't think it's that long is not the answer. He could have learned that Dest is not the answer as a backup left back, and he may have to bring an actual option, whether it's Fines or if it's Scally at that point.
By the way, Sam, don't go around cutting expats. Usually, your cuts a fart, but you're now Sam Cuts an expat. More Berhalter on the striker situation. Loving hearing Derek last week on Sam's show go all in on Ferreira. He's right. He has no business being in the squad. Sargent and Pepi are a better version of him. Hence the SRC striker Venn diagram. No, it's a Venn diagram. I like this. Thank you, Greg. I'll go a bit further on Ferreira. Let's not forget he is a converted central attacking midfielder. He wouldn't even be the striker at Dallas if Pepi had stayed. Correct. The fact that our coach's first choice striker is a converted CIM is irritating. That's not so much that worries me that he's converted. I get it, and maybe he's not suited for it. But, if you're going to cross balls into the box and expect someone on the other end to get a head on it, the guy probably shouldn't be a midget.
Well, if Weah was in there, he probably would have connected with that.
Weah, Sargent,
actually, no,
Pepi.
It came from Weah's end, so he wouldn't have gotten to that. Never mind, I take that back.
Mm-hmm. But a lot of guys over 6 foot would have hit that in. Yeah. So, and believe me, guys, we're going to need somebody who can finish with their head at the World Cup. I'm sorry. I don't know if you've looked at the lineups the other teams we're playing, but those are no midgets and small people. Those are large mammals we're going to be playing against. All right. Even the Japanese center backs are quite large. So I think that this is not, we don't need a 5'5" or whatever the hell, 7 he is in this situation when he doesn't provide coming back to the ball anything more than Sargent does. Sargent's just as good as Ferreira at that and better at it. All right. Are we seriously near the end here?
Yeah, we're nearing the end, Derek.
I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock.
And it's going to take longer if you keep holding off.
I need beauty sleep. I do. Look at me.
Please.
I need some serious beauty sleep.
He has only been an effective striker at the MLS level. When he plays for the USMNT national team, he plays like you would expect a converted cam to play. He lacks killer instinct. The thing is, we have options. We aren't desperate. A converted Cam, seriously, as our number one striker? Probably.
But can you promise no animals were harmed during the live broadcast? Absolutely, yes. Inquiring minds
True.
need to know. Yes.
Not by our hands, at least.
Maybe some blow-up dolls were damaged, but that's about it.
Fred Baker's back. Bring in Ferreira, Wood, and Altidore. Give me a break about that Aaron Long hate. He wasn't at fault for the goal versus Cincy. Yes, kind of was. And he's an elite center back in MLS. Yeah, I don't know about that. And has always played well for the U.S. men's national team fans. He's definitely played his heart out.
Yeah.
You are part of the echo chamber.
Fred, you are just being the ultimate opposite of reality. So
he quote tweets himself and says, Twitter ISIS, a.k.a. 11 Yanks, tact, U.S. men's national team stand, U.S. men's national team takes, Jay, CONCACAF Edgar, Mr. Kelsey guy, and other a-holes love to spread lies about Aaron Long and other MLS players. Filippo Silva.
Boy,
Not his real name.
That's projection if I ever heard it.
Thinks his dog is better than Reggie Cannon. He's toxic.
Fred's not your real name. Baker's not your real name. And nothing what you say do you actually believe. Because if you do, man, wow. 5-year plan. Fuck it. We ball.
I think that's it. These are just related.
Okay.
Hold on. Real quick. Last ones. This is spot on. Greg, you're going to make me watch Ferreira?
What, is she in bed?
Maybe.
All right.
Really? You want to make me watch Ferreira? Yeah. All right, what's the spot on real quick? I just got to find. Okay.
All right. Make sure you like. Oh,
yeah, that's spot on.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your grandmother. We will be back on Thursday. Fuck. It's Monday today. And maybe we'll have something to talk about. If not, we'll just, I don't know, shoot the shit and record some stuff. Unless we come on and do a whole show just taking your personal questions. I don't know. Because there's nothing to talk about, soccer-wise. I mean, how many times?
Tough, man.
It is, because there are not enough midweek games for the most part for us to have a full show.
We can always aim to take some of these small bit topics and make them topics, I guess. But like Sargent getting interest, we could have made that a topic, I guess. We got another 205 views.
That would have been like 10 minutes of me going, oh, that's blowhard bullshit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Till the next time on the Straight Red Card, stay safe, have safe sex, drive safely, and
only you can prevent fire. 4 stars.
Yeah. Don't play with fire. And when you're cooking, use a glove when you're pulling shit out of the oven. Okay. We'll see you soon.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Man, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me.